Greetings, I am Liz, and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal, and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together!
Yeah.
Alright, in reference to the last episode, I'm still here going, all I need to know, in all ways, is where is the music coming from?
I do need to know.
My whole life, I need to know, did she build an automaton, like, music box that just plays when she snaps her fingers? She claps for the light, she snaps her fingers for music? Like, what's the deal?
Oh, a music box that you turn on when you go.
No, she claps for the light, so it has to be a different gesture for the music box.
Snap, I
guess.
guess.
I said snap.
Yeah.
Do snap, bitch.
I do this. All right.
I'm just like, I want to know where the music is coming from, because it's diegetic music, meaning they can hear it in the thing, and it's playing for them. And how did it turn on? How did it turn off? We don't have, again, radios here. And if you have, like, a gramophone, I need to know. It's my whole life. My heart feels light for the first time in a long time. All we need to do is resolve the Julian situation. And we can dance like this every day. Okay, question. I feel like everything's coming together. The only thing you're trying to come together is the Julian situation. And you just said the only thing that hasn't been fixed is the Julian situation.
Honey?
So literally, the entire plot of the game, that is the whole reason you hired this person, isn't happening or done. What is coming together for you?
Could you be more specific?
A little more specific. Everything's going so well in what way? Everything's coming together how?
Nadia, you're vague blogging again.
Vague blogging.
She brushes her lips against my cheek, and then pulls me into another twirl. My hip is going to fucking start killing me eventually.
But she doesn't support me properly.
Time seems to stand still as our dance continues. The room falls away, leaving us dancing alone in starlight.
The manufactured starlight, the magical ceiling.
With the sparkle ceiling,
yep.
And the lights that are streaming. Fine, it's okay. There's no one else, nothing else. Just Nadia and I, hand in hand, leg against leg.
Against
we sound
floor.
Like we're really shitty dancers.
Okay, but leg...
It has to be a very specific leg dance.
Against leg.
Leg against leg.
Against floor.
Thigh and like knee against knee sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So
also,
we're like miming over here again. You can totally see.
How would you stand and do the leg against leg while you're moving around?
What kind of leg against leg are we talking?
While you're moving,
are we talking
scooting?
Between the legs? Are we trying to be erotic about this?
I think they want to say hip to hip, but they can't say it.
I mean, they have said hip.
She pushes her body against mine.
Would that actually be too adult just to say hips?
Hips pressed together.
I'm like, hips again, people
shoved against. Oh no!
Like, I'm not kidding. There is a trope in media to use a dance as a metaphor for sex.
Yeah.
So, like, I find this to be sort of hilarious and again deeply performative. Your siblings are literally fucking here, and again going, "Well, I'm doing this with them in front of you."
But they're not fucking here.
You don't know that. Again, if it's a metaphor.
No, okay. No, I meant the siblings. You know.
No, they're not.
It's okay, though. The thing I have is going, okay, for every kind of dance that I've ever seen in my whole life, and I've seen a good variety of different dances world over, and partner dancing specifically, there are very few dances where your legs, that I can think of at all, even maybe one, barely, where your leg stays in contact with the other person's leg while you're dancing.
Isn't that like salsa?
I was going to say, maybe a form of salsa.
Or like some...
It's not at all times.
So we're talking about España, so Spain.
Maybe a rumba?
Maybe?
Where you're really that close and you have your thighs together on one side and you sort of chase the partner across the floor, pressed together, and they chase you back, pressed together, and you do not come apart.
But again, like, those are very specific things you really fucking need to know how to do. And the fact that we're instantly already... It's fine.
Anyway, I'm confused.
Our lips nearly touch with every movement, only to slide away with the next.
Okay.
Because this is just about eroticism.
No, but if your heads are getting nearly touching and then sliding away, how much head movement is in this dance? Also, if your legs are staying together, that's going to be a lot of head movement because you're not going to be getting closer and further away from each other. I want to know what dance you had in mind, my dears. It would really help me out.
This is very confusing. I don't notice the song ending. We're worlds away, in a place where nothing else matters. And then, finally, she kisses me. I let out a sigh I didn't know I was holding against her lips. Actually, I don't.
I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I'm a teen protag.
I'm like,
No.
I don't know how to react to this. I'm not feeling this. It's fine.
Not feeling it. Also, again, like PDA, Corzone not super into PDA.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know how to deal with this.
But not in public as a display.
And again, this is also a level of going, see, I'm validate. Listen, I'm like, this is the trope. I validate you in front of my family. fuck them, I can do what I want, but yet I desperately will go, you need to support this. I'm like, are you oppressed?
I need
Nadia,
your
are
approval.
your siblings telling you that you can't do this? This is about you, not them.
You seem like
As far as I could tell, your siblings don't give two flying fucks about your main character. The only way that scene works better, in my opinion, in stories, is when the family actively dislikes the person that you've brought in front of them. For this to actually work, Navra and Nahara need to dislike your main character. Nasmira needs to dislike your main character. They need to not be interested and actually be trying to drive either you two apart or something.
Or drive you away.
Yeah, like, I'm like, this doesn't work. This is silly to me.
It's a little weird. It's, again, it feels like I don't care what my sisters think, but I need their approval.
Right?
Which is a type of a behavior, for sure. I've been waiting to do that since we were so rudely interrupted in the hallway.
But again, about your experience.
It is.
This is so much about Nadia's experience. I'm like,
wanting. I've been wanting to do that.
But I'm like, again, like, the thing that we were annoyed about is I was like, this was very much where I thought, like, really with Nadia's part, I was like, wow, we're going to be able to be actively more involved because Nadia was asking for our consent and going, hey, would you like to do this thing? There was more the invitation to do stuff. Yeah. And now it's like, and now Nadia's just taking over everything.
It's full Nadia and no, but they're telling you that your MC is into it.
They're all into it.
No, but I mean, like, the narrative going, it doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. The narrative says your character is all into it. They're all into it, regardless.
It doesn't matter if you're asked or not. You were clearly excited about this. You've been told you are by the narrative.
Right?
You don't choose that. That's just what the story is, apparently.
Why else would you pick this character? Except I'm like, you literally also don't have any... That's fine.
But again, you don't know what this is going in. Not all romances look the same. And so, yeah, it doesn't have to be written this way. And it's a little... It feels very, again, centered on Nadia's experience.
Mm-hmm. Nadia pulls away gently, cheeks a little flushed. Nasmira looks delighted, hands clasped to her heart as if she has just seen something wonderful.
Because child like it.
But also, again, for me, I'm going, like, the only way that this really works to me is that the family doesn't like you.
Otherwise, it's
just
really weird.
Her performing.
Or it follows up with that thing we were talking about before, where with Nadia being neurodivergent, okay, where she isn't understanding the social tone and cue that everyone else is having.
Right.
So her sister's super glad to see her, but Nadia's always been the eccentric one, so it's like, they don't expect her to be warm and hug them and things like that, because if she's been, more neurodivergent, maybe she is more like that, and they're respectful.
She doesn't express affection in the way that my family has established. In the way
that a lot of people do, right?
Yeah.
So she goes, here's this person that I like, and she expects them to be defensive. In her mind, they are defensive and judgy of you because they would be, right? And she's going to prove them otherwise. Both of them have been accepting of her their entire lives and are completely accepting of her now, but that's not the narrative in her head.
Which also makes this really interesting, again, of going, like, Nadia is deeply disconnected even from the idea of her family. That's why I was like, what are you talking about? Your sister seems fine.
They all seem really like you.
Great.
And they all seem...
Your other sibling seems to love the shit out of you. And it was like, hey, I'm going to tell a complete fucking stranger. I'm going to give them very particular instructions on how to care for you and go, please tell me as soon as she wakes up, I love her. Like, I don't... This doesn't work for me. But it also could be, like, again, like, the focus is weird because I'm like, you need to then tell basically the story more from Nadia's perspective.
Because it gives a very interesting idea of who Nadia is, and that she, to herself and to you, is an unreliable narrator, because all the other characters are contradicting her. Constantly. The version she sees of reality isn't right, and that's part of her disconnection. That's part of the theme of her being very disconnected, not only from the common folk, but from everyone. Right. And perhaps the way she ended up in a marriage that she very much didn't like and seemed to be at odds with was being very disconnected from him at the beginning and only having this idealized interaction with him of her own experience. Right. And then eventually being entrenched in it so long, going, this isn't the things I was looking for, and now I have to see you because I've been around you so long and it affects my life so much.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, and I could see that. That makes a lot of sense, but it's also
a really interesting narrative to tell for your character. And going, that seems like a lot to put in a story.
It's not Nasmira's the other character. Nasmira's she showed up finally. But yeah, so, but I just like, I don't...
So Nasmira's the one with the green hair,
no, I remember. Nasmira's the one with the green hair. I was going like...
I was right. All three of them have been here from the beginning, but Nasmira said nothing when you entered and did not interact with the entire scene and has not had any opinions or interaction at all until now. I think they forgot she was there.
I think, so I was going to say, like, comparing, for example, like, Nadia's route, though, to, like, Julian's route, you at least could make a mild argument with Julian's route, him going, you know, I'm dangerous, blah, blah, blah. People are actually actively trying to hunt him down. That's fair. Like, but with Nadia, it's just a, oh my god, I'm so distant, so alone, and everyone around is like, we love you.
I was like, his low self-esteem and self-judgment is more justified. He's like, I actually am responsible for people dying. And I feel personally responsible for not healing people, as well as for not fighting the answer to the plague. Even if it wasn't genuinely a reasonable ask of me.
Oh, no.
As a doctor, and a doctor in the primary research group to solve this problem, I felt like I was supposed to, right?
It felt, honestly, like his reasoning was, I guess, more sound in that.
More reasonable?
Reasonable? Yeah.
And
I mean, and it doesn't mean that her story is invalid, but it's also like, it's so much her experience, it's actually really inaccessible to me. Because it's also like, again, like I said, when Nasmira was really nice to her, I'm like, what are you talking about? Nasmira loves the shit out of you. She's super supportive. She's really like, oh no, how are you doing? Like, I really care about you. Like, Nadia was having a wildly fucking different experience compared to everyone else.
With this complex narrative of Nadia is not having the same experience as everyone unified around her is having.
And it doesn't mean that her experience is invalid.
It's not invalid. Again, she's literally having this experience. It's not bad or invalid. It's just not accurate to the rest of reality.
But I want to be clear, because sometimes people go, you say that thing, so the opposite of that then must be true.
No, none of that, yes. So her experience is completely valid, and it is what she is actually having, okay? But like, not but, and then you have all of these other characters demonstrating that what the opposite is actually true, right?
Right.
And you get this really interesting experience of going, like, basically what the narrative that the character is supposed to be engaging with and figuring out, and basically discovering that Nadia doesn't actually understand her reality because she is so incredibly self-possessed. She's been so concerned about being good enough, being powerful enough, being fast enough, smart enough, you know, better, that like she's measured everything basically in skill. Social skill, physical skill, writing skill, you know, creation skill, everything. That all of the other social niceties of just being friendly, helpful, nice, people liking you, they don't connect.
Yeah.
And so it's really just, like, again, I think it's a really bold choice for a story to go, you're going to try and help someone who doesn't literally understand the nature of their reality as far as the social conditions are concerned, understand them. Also, I think they forgot Nasmira.
I think they totally forgot. Nasmira looked delighted, hands clasped to her heart as if she has just seen something wonderful. Beside her, Nahara gives me a knowing smile, and Navra winks.
Well, I do believe you've the hang of it, then. Because, yeah, Portia just ushered us in and left.
Yeah.
With all three of the sisters there, and only two of them ever interacted. So you know how Navra was super fascinated with the goats? Nasmira was just fixated on a fresco the whole time or something like that.
That's again, I'm like, the only way this works better for me is going like, it's just like trying to either like validate an experience that your character's not having. I am so disconnected from this world. Your character is so fucking comfortable. Actually, in all the other dialogue, you don't spend much time. Actually, only in the couple of cases they've been like, she's in this world, this great distance than me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you really haven't driven or basically made it really clear, like your character isn't socially awkward, they don't make mistakes in regards to protocol, there isn't like, you don't have that sort of tell, so this feels really weird. Here's the point where this part of the story happens, except everybody here loves you, so the point that we're trying to make doesn't actually work, but it's there! See, romance trope, and it bugs me.
Again, a lot of these other this is the spot where the romantic thing happened.
That happened with Julian too. Oh my god!
For me, they always have it at really weird times, and there's a little bit of that going on here too. We shall practice more later, alone.
No,
alone, together, without all of them.
Right. Nadia smooths her clothing down and adjusts her hair, turning towards her sisters.
I expect we shall see Natika, Nazali, and Nafiza for the masquerade. She just statement, not a question. I invited them, after all.
She faces them, but she's not talking to them. She's still talking to us.
And she is also talking to herself.
Yes.
And there you exist, which I didn't know you exist. Oh my, how you've grown, Nadia. None of us have seen you for maybe 10, 15, 20 years. And I've seen you 3 times now. I'm the only one that's seen you more than once right now. And I'm going to say how much you've grown now. Now,
thanks.
It's fine.
It's okay.
Nadia.
Ruling has made you wiser. You are different.
have you been ruling? Do you remember any actual ruling?
I don't know.
Different.
She literally doesn't remember 6 years of her goddamn life, and there's no discussion about where she was before she came to Vesuvia.
Nope. As far as we can tell, she came here 6 years ago, or 3 years ago, depending on which part of the plot you listen to.
Right.
She doesn't remember the first 3 years here and was asleep for the next 3, or she fell asleep immediately after entering the castle and was asleep for that. But but she still also remembers being married to Lucio and the plague leading up to the plague, which happened before she fell asleep. So it was either in a couple of months or in those 3 years that may have happened.
Right.
And going, also, did you marry before you came to the castle? Did he live in the castle and you married into it? Was it your castle?
I really don't understand.
Where did the castle... Because as far as I know, just from outside knowledge, unfortunately, I couldn't avoid it, Lucio was not royalty when Nadia married him, and she gave him a title, as one does, because she has a title.
See, and I thought he earned his own title, like he got it from someone?
Maybe?
I just heard he got a title from someone.
I thought he married into a title.
I wasn't even sure.
That's okay. I don't know because I haven't researched it because I'm trying not to spoil things. But the vagueness impression I've gotten is he married into a title.
Well,
he married someone who had a title.
For everyone else, this is not an invitation to spoil the plot.
Yes, no, it's not. The thing is,
because I also understand that Nix Hydra has a ton of stuff on their blog. I am one of those players who goes, but if it's not accessible in the game, where the hell was I supposed to pick that up? Especially if I didn't know they had a blog. Because the part of the thing is, too, is a lot of people aren't actually sharing, like, their playthroughs of the Arcana anyway.
So a lot of what we're trying to do is learn whatever the game itself with no exterior information tells you.
Yes.
And that. And we're going to have to learn that route by route and see how it goes.
Which is also, though, now, I could say then in that way, we should probably be going and looking at, like, the character profiles. But one of the reasons I didn't is because whenever I played games, I would go, ooh, I got my main introduction, because, like, when I started playing this game by myself, years ago, I just went and I looked through, basically, actually just the main introductory route thing, and I was like, oh, this is the character I would like to romance, but I could never afford it, so I stopped playing it. And I wasn't interested in going and looking at the profiles, because I assumed, like a lot of them,
in the game.
it would, one, be exposited in the game, and two, that actually there was a lot of details that you would learn in the story itself, and I was actually deeply disappointed to find out only later that there's just stuff in there.
Yeah, I noticed that too. So the games that I've really enjoyed are ones where what's in the character profile is stuff that actually is exposited in the story. And so it's basically a catalog of what you've learned rather than here's extra bonus information.
Right.
But they're just different ways of doing things. Different.
It is good. I like it.
Yes, normally when we've seen you, you aren't as engaged with anybody, only yourself. Yes, you have blossomed, dear sister. You are luminous.
Okay, I have to say,
and by that, I mean, you look really into them. You look horny.
To me, also, though, these are some of the most fucking generic compliments I could ever possibly goddamn hear. For a family that Nadia has exposited as very demanding and also has very high standards, or at least she perceives as
and
such.
Extremely specific interests.
Like, I don't buy this for a fucking second. This is very bland. Like, again, going, all I hear is Nadia basically really has been stuck basically in her own experience, which is still valid and is okay to have, but that her siblings have never done that to her ever, and it was just what she perceived was going on.
And what I'm getting is, what does blossomed and luminous mean?
That's what I said. Super vague. That's again, so you don't have to define your world. You don't have to go, oh my god, Nadia, the last time I saw you, because then you would have to write specific story and you'd have to have plot. This is what annoys me. I'm like, this doesn't feel like a whole story. These don't feel like people or characters actually talking to each other and going, oh my god, let's talk about when we were actually siblings and let's talk about a time that we had and I can give you a specific thing. Because I can tell you right off the bat, having older siblings, they get totally, even if you're not close to them, they will totally tell you exact shit.
The contrast.
Your family will tell you stuff like it's fine.
Of course. She doesn't get the compliments either. Perfect. Well, things have gone smoothly with Corazon here to help me.
See, like, and I can see one of the sisters, basically the yellow one, basically being not the butch one, but I think she's orange and that one's yellow. But the idea basically is that, like, you could say that one of them is basically very flowery and sort of detached from, you know, everything anyway. She is a little, she's more that eccentric, spiritual, blah, 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 whatever. And the other one is a little bit more practical, which is why then I would expect actually the one to be extremely practical and then go, hi, I'll give you a specific example, my sister.
Yes, of how you have gone from being not this thing to this thing.
Yes.
I believe we are on the brink of completing our investigation as well.
Which was the only thing we were fucking hired
The
for.
only thing we were doing. So as well as what?
What?
As well as what else?
Whomst.
You're being amazing! Yes, and I also believe the primary focus of the story is happening as well? You mean, what?
I'm tired. Nadia opens her mouth to elaborate when a commotion outside the ballroom interrupts her. The Chamberlain rushes in, looking flustered.
Oh, Chamberlain's new. I want to see what the who's the Chamberlain?
Milady! Oh, so full. It's terrible. Someone has arrived.
Another sister. So soon?
Aye. No, Milady, it's, He doesn't have the time to finish his sentence. All at once, it seems, a flurry of guards burst through the door.
Suddenly there are guards and a Chamberlain.
In hot pursuit of one man who stands tall above them. A black cloak billowing dramatically in the non-existent wind. Because it's Julian!
It's starched to hell.
It is starched, blowing dramatically. Corazon, correction. It is held in place by filth and grime.
Inflated into a dramatic
Posture.
Whoosh by dirt.
By regret.
By regrets.
I recognize that flash of crimson, those tall boots, that eye patch.
You know, we saw them in the prologue. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Julian Devorak has come to the palace. Well, what are you standing around for? Arrest me!
That's amazing.
That is totally him.
That
That's
is
fine. I'm like,
amazing.
there, look, the comedy had appeared again.
Good job, it happened.
You
Yay.
self-destructive dingbat. Here we go.
also even worse because he's not actually interacting with anyone in this room.
I know!
And not dating anyone, so it's like you don't lead him there, nothing happens. He just flings himself in going, I've wandered about being drunk for 6 days with no plan. Arrest me!
Time to kill me! Do it! I'm ready!
Pretty much.
The carriage rumbles over cobblestones as Nadia and I leave the palace, bound for the town square.
I'm still just like, if Mazalinka knows he came back to town to turn himself in, why the fuck would she let him? I've locked you in the hidey hole. Bye! I'll drop food down through the sleeveless roof.
I'll make a slut, bitch!
Exactly. I will lead you out on a rope so you can relieve yourself. I'm just like, what? Why would she let him do this? Well, you know, she's not his keeper. She's his mom, damn it.
She is his mom. She kicked his ass.
Uh-huh.
I said, after the arrest last night, Nadia announced she would give a special speech for all of Vesuvia to hear.
Whoa! We have glossed over everything interesting that would have happened in that entire scene.
Yes.
And we're just going, well, it's the next day. I won't even mention waking up or sleeping or what it took to go to bed or anything, or the fact that we caught Julian or what went through. It's just, after last night, there was an arrest. After the arrest last night, I'm like, no, everything interesting just happened off screen. And, over there.
I hate this in stories, it's fine.
No.
She sits beside me now, a hand resting lightly on my thigh as we travel.
Where are we traveling?
Really fucking confused as to why she's touching me right now.
Uh-huh. The good doctor couldn't have made it easy on us, I suppose. Are we now going to find out that he also showed up and, vomited a confession, and that she then just believed him? Or that she went, but I have information to the contrary? Are we gonna say that basically that whole dinner scene happened where he's like, no, I'm totally guilty, and she's like, no, give me more information. Okay, I don't believe you, you're shit at lying. And then let's do the trial anyways, because that's what I want to bring to Vesuvia. But also, I'm just, what happened last night? That's really important information, we skipped it. I suppose. I'm sure word has already spread of his capture. Gossip catches faster than fire in Vesuvia.
I sure as fuck,
have not
hope
experienced
so, because
it.
actually, do you know how many places burned down over the years? Towns? Burned down because of wood?
Oh god, yeah, it's okay. This town doesn't look very woody, and it does look very wet.
It does look very rocky.
Stony. Yes, a lot of stone and a lot of wet.
She pauses, and then shakes her head in puzzlement.
Why would he turn himself in when he is innocent of the crime?
Because he is a self-deprecating, destructive asshole.
Because let me talk to my AU friend nerd, and I'll tell you why.
Nerd. Oh, yeah, he
Nerd.
just likes self-harming.
Huh? Oh, he's just really self-hating, self-destructive? I think, honestly, he feels like he deserves to die because he believes that the death of other people is his fault.
And then by killing himself, he will therefore be making up for it.
He's trying to atone his sins through death. Sort of. Because he also thinks he won't die, so it's in effigy. Does that make sense?
What?
Nerd is a cinnamon roll.
Nerd is a cinnamon roll. I love nerd.
Right. We know Lucio's death was magical, and that the doctor is singularly useless at magic, according to Asra, who I believe is an authority on the subject. Asra going, okay, in all possible ways that I ever would have tried to make it fun, flirty, tantalizing, or erotic in our dating life, he could not magic for the life of him. Sigh. It could have been so much fun. It is possibly Asra, and
It is supposed to be possible. Wow.
I think it's supposed to be possible.
I haven't seen an error in this for a while.
I haven't.
It is possible.
Asra and Muriel were lying, but I do not think so.
The thing that I love is that they didn't go around and go, the doctor was... Okay, so again, the thing that pisses me off about this is going, Julian was incredibly fucking popular. Like,
Right.
you establish in his...
Everyone loves him.
That everybody loves him, no one will turn him in. He's considered to be everybody's bro, which is, again, what makes sort of his self-destructiveness hilarious, because everybody still loves him, regardless of what he has or hasn't done.
So he is also a big social darling, but he doesn't think about everyone hating him in the way that Nadia does. He's actually
He just doesn't...
more
He ignores everyone and just talks about himself.
Right, so he's actually much more self-centered than Nadia in that
Yeah.
way, where she's self-possessed, but she really notices everyone around her.
Uh-huh.
Julian's like, I'm here to party and we're all having fun, but I don't think about you at all.
Yeah.
Where you guys are all a group.
So what kills me is that Nadia doesn't have other people doing investigations in the city asking about Julian, who they've been looking for a little bit, at least, like you would find out that people love him.
So the
You honest to fucking God would find out that he is loved. So you'd be like, why would he be doing this? And they'd be like, can he do magic? And people go, what?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, no! You would have so many character witnesses of people going, hi, here's Julian, let us describe the big tall idiot. Let us describe him. He is such a bro, man. Like, I want to throw my glasses. I'm so frustrated.
And so I was gonna say, one, we know there's a manhunt going on with posters and stuff like that, because we know the MC is aware of wanted posters and of guards looking for this person and going, oh God, I recognize him. That's Julian Devorak, the most wanted man in Vesuvia.
Right.
So, like, the manhunt is going on, but somehow it's not part of her entire narrative as a character, even though she would be running it and having directed it. Or she would have a director of it, like a captain of the guard, that would check in and give reports and things like that.
Yes.
Someone up the chain of events should be talking about what the search for Julian is going like, and that there is one going on, which has never been mentioned in this entire story since the prologue. But all of the interesting things that could have happened, again, of, I'll turn myself in, and her going, guard sees him, and then going, walks up to him, power move. We know you're innocent. What are you doing?
So this is a characteristic of mysteries, is to skip on it and then sort of talk about it backwards to sort of get your interest going. What happened, though? So it's not a bad trope, but it is also sort of frustrating with the whole story as a whole. It's fine.
My heart tells me they are being truthful, and yet Dr. Devorak has admitted to the crime. Raises a hand. Perhaps he just wants to die.
Perhaps he seems a little wild and crazy.
Why, where it's over? It's definitely strange.
It's definitely strange.
Yes, like
Yes.
cars, absolutely.
Like, it's definitely strange. Nadia and I are reasonably sure of Julian's innocence. So if he has turned himself in, because after all, he seems to kind of be a dingbat, it must be for another reason.
Corazon going, he is one of the most disgusting people I have ever seen. Ew. A week ago, I would have been delighted by this turn of events. Yet now, I know it is only a distraction from the real problem. Lucio is out there somewhere, still.
What has that got to do with anything? Again, the real problem? You think Lucio being alive is the real problem?
The real problem isn't that he was murdered and that, your leadership is basically a mess. And your city and government would be a mess because they haven't had any actual leadership for 3 years, or maybe they've been led by some sort of a regent for 3 years.
Right.
Which I will say, we've been given information. Apparently, Valerius was directing things.
But I don't think we've gotten that in the story.
We have not. We've not gotten that in the story.
I am still
externally
deeply goddamn irritated about stuff like that. Again, I'm like, what does Nadia actually know or not know?
Honestly, it would have been really interesting for Nadia to say, while I was asleep, fill in the blank, was...
Portia told me this information because also I imagine, honestly, that her sibling Nazali would be like, hey, this might be important to keep track of what's going on in the palace.
Well, and the thing is even without that,
Motherfucker.
if Portia's going to be an important servant of some kind,
Yes.
she's going to be involved with the other servants.
Yeah, she'll hear what's going on. That's why I'm like, I don't understand the lack of servant gossip in
And
this
also you'd have
goddamn
servants
game.
being like, oh my god, the Regent Valerius, he's just making this law about this thing. Someone threw a fit this way, and they threw someone into the fountain.
You know, he
in the
hasn't been
middle-
keeping track of. We have been having all this part of Vesuvia, it's breaking down and falling into the water. He's so bad at this. You know, I'm like, you
Yeah.
have people talking.
Yeah.
This is a thing that just, I keep to my head.
It's okay. In any case, keep an eye out for anything suspicious. Would you? I have a bad feeling about this.
Nadia sighs and pulls a curtain aside, glancing out one of the carriage windows. And you know what she sees in there? She sees that we are done with the episode.
She sees that the episode is ending. Oh look, the finishing credits are on their way.
Oh, look, here they come. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment. And also share our videos if you're having a good time with us. And it looks like, oh my god, look at that.
Oh, look
it's
at that.
coming down. It
A
all says,
long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
there's the Patreon and the Ko-Fi. They would love to be visited by you
Yes.
and supported if you'd be willing to support the channel. Oh, we're on a channel. Oh, that's good to know.
Yes.
So yeah, other than that though, guys, please also feel free to go check out our Twitch if you'd like to hang out with us live. I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!